Oddity fine! I got some economic hawks, a gin and tonic on the rocks, where angels fear to tread. I say, choose your booze, let's hit the red eye! Think of young Diana Durbin and how she sung on rum and bourbon, or enhance your luncheon hour with a planter's punch and a whiskey sour. If you feel like a wreck, try a horse's neck or a sherry with a cherry in the new finer size. If you don't name your poison, I'll have to get the boys in. The spirit of adventure opens one's eyes.
Mental Gen, we are back at the original location. After finally having the fumigations done for all of the fourth wall breaches, things have finally receded back to normalcy. Or at least as normal as you can get around here.
Hi, every pony! Yeah,
Oh, fuck.
Did I not tell you? Yeah, we still kind of have to let Pinkie Pie through because it turns out there is no fourth wall protection that can keep her from us. I'm immune to all fourth wall, all protection, and anti-fourth wall protection. Which really doesn't matter that much because wouldn't anti-fourth wall protection be the antimatter universe? Because it's just funny because Pinkie,
Ring hand.
no, it's
Yep.
so. Anyway, Pinkie, we're in the middle of a reading. You can break the fourth wall and come into our house, but just don't annoy us while we're doing this. Fine. What are you reading? Well, we are reading
Chapter 11 of Beating the Heat.
by Andrew Joshua Talon. Woo! I remember that adventure. Pinkie, don't speak unless spoken to.
Bugger off.
But I have an alignment. Shut up.
Bugger off.
Fine. Sorry about that, Mentalgen. She went back to Equestria. Anyway,
I wonder if we can prove it with the Stargate.
I don't think that will work.
I'm pretty sure it will.
It's Pinkie Pie.
Then, we just have to destroy the fourth wall.
You do realize the kind of untold amount of damage that would cause, right?
Well, then again, the fourth wall isn't actually a wall. It's a physical construct made up in the mind of theater performers and film as a means of addressing the audience when there's actually no one really there, according to the play.
So then you can't really destroy it.
Well,
Unless you destroy the audience, which would in turn destroy you.
anyway, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, we have a chapter of Beating the Heat to read, and we are going to get through this.
Anyway, Beating Heat, Chapter 11, by Andrew Joshua Talon. Go.
You start. It starts with narration.
Shut up. Pinkie Pie skipped along happily through the hallways, humming cheerfully. She would think of a song to sing and then sing it happily, but she was a little distracted by thoughts of Braeburn. She really had grown fond of Applejack's cousin while they were in Appaloosa. He'd enjoyed her singing, and she liked how energetic and cheerful he was. Even while working hard, he had a smile in his heart, and Pinkie Pie loved it.
Braeburn and chocolate, Braeburn whipped cream, Braeburn goes with anything. There we go.
She thought happily as she began to sing in earnest.
Oh, he's my Braeburn, apple of my eye, the cream on an eager Pinkie Pie. We'll be so happy together, and I'm going to tell you why. Whipped frosted Braeburn goes with everything.
He saw a light of daytime ahead and skipped merrily ahead, ready to sing a second verse of her song. Crack!
No. Say it with more force.
Crack!
That will do.
Oh! Pinkie Pie came to a stop and blinked rapidly. Had she just heard that? Crack! Ugh! Pinkie Pie crept forward and looked out the door. The hallway led to a walkway along the eastern wall of the palace. Right up against the wall was another smaller building with a wide flat roof, and on top of this roof, she could see Rainbow Dash and 4 other Pegasi.
Pegasi? Or Pegasus? Pegasuses? I can never remember.
Pinkie Pie muttered to herself.
Pegasi. S? It's Pegasi. And don't yell that one.
Crack!
Fine! Oh!
Pinkie Pie put this question aside and skipped along the walkway until she was right across from Dash and the guards.
Pegasi!
She tilted her head curiously as she watched. Crack!
I do not feel sorry at all for the people who might be standing outside my door.
Ugh! Ah! Cried Zero, shuddering as he felt the crop slap across his flank. Rainbow Dash, with the riding crop between her teeth, hummed with a scowl. The other guards were similarly arrayed, standing with their backsides to her in a parade ground line.
Somehow, it's not working as well this way. Actually, wait. Oh, that was Dash.
Derp,
Yeah. Somehow, it's not working as well this way.
she said. Galland sighed.
Not too well on this side either, Miss Dash.
Crack!
Gah!
Galland grunted. Rainbow Dash scowled.
That's Mistress Dash to you! Yes, Mistress! And what about the rest of you?
Dash asked flatly. Zero coughed. Dash hovered with her wings around to glare at the guards in the eyes.
Well, what do you think about it, soldier?
I kind of like it. A little.
You would, Hero Yuli.
Well, it's the only thing you can feel next to. It's the only thing you could ever feel.
You have no idea what Zero is a reference to, do you?
Yes, I do. It's a reference to Gundam Wing.
So then you have... Well, so you still don't know who Hero Yui is. You do not know why he would enjoy this because he's a motionless prick.
Look at all the fucks I give. They're turning into OA. Anyway.
Whatever. Hero, you emotionless prick.
Dash moved to Mustang, who was shivering a bit.
And what about you? I don't know what, is, soldier. Tell me!
Dash growled.
Well, tell me! That is, tell me!
Rainbow Dash bellowed. Mustang winced and opened his mouth.
This is turning me on, and that scares me. Good. Thank you, Captain Malcolm Reynolds. Good! I said that.
Alright, no, I mean, that was Mustang that was talking.
I know. And that's why I said thank you, Captain Reynolds.
Mustang is a reference to...
Oh!
Good God, we're away from a week from this thing. You already forget who the fucking characters are.
Well, I practically destroyed my liver. That could be actually, that has nothing to do with it.
Liver? Who needs a liver?
Yeah.
What is a liver?
A miserable pile of flesh! But enough talk!
Howdy!
Listen, this is turning me on, and that scares me. Good!
Dash cried. She grinned a little and hoofed the riding crop to Mustang. She turned around and landed on her stomach, managing to lift her hips up. She looked over her shoulders with a grin.
He's like, all right, you do it now. Yes, mistress.
Mustang mumbled. He looked down at the others. They just shrugged tiredly. Mustang went forward and brought the crop down hard. Crack! Dash groaned, though not out of arousal or pain. Sounded more annoyed.
Oh, come on! You can do better than that! Let me like you mean it!
Not right now. She glared at Mustang over her shoulder and rested a hoof on her round flanks, which already bore red marks.
I mean, I'm not even bruising yet! You must whip it! Whip it good! We had to put that reference in there.
Anyway, moving right along.
Oh, wow! Did I come at the right time?
Pinkie Pie said cheerfully. Dash looked up and blinked.
Pinkie Pie? What are you doing here? Oh, well, that's kind of a long story. Hi, other ponies! Very sorry to interrupt up and not say hello first, but I'm kind of in a hurry, and when I'm in a hurry, I'm often too focused to say hello, but I am focused enough to...
Get on with it!
Get on with it!
Get on with it! Pinky, Dash growled.
Summarize! Oh, okay.
Pinkie Pie opened her mouth widely, sucked in a huge breath, and began speaking as quickly as she could, and the narrator left for a moment in order to go get some more drink.
Alright, let's do this. The elements of harmony induce uber intense magical heat that'll last forever. Ever so the doctor, who's really nice and focusing, Amy keep Twilight from jumping on him. The rest of our friends together a bit. And Max Pike and a nice wonderful battle that I claimed as a bit. And Applejack claimed as a plan B to go to Canada and get the elements of harmony to fix this, but I came along maybe so I can meet the Shadow Bolts who stole my Braeburn, we're making like money to just kind of funny how they compared to ponies buddies. Anyway, we ended up going and there's something studying convention of manly ponies. I just introduced it's like in Galland, but it was South Bear. You reminded me why I was here. You were very dreadful.
Take a breath, man. Just because she's going to die from exhaling every bit of oxygen in her body doesn't mean you have to.
I think you get my better than me, but it was so hot and cooking so overnatural that I didn't want my butt in the other day, so I wanted papers to make fun of anyway. But what should I do? The whole convention crazy with their stackiness. Now we have to run. We've been doing that a lot today. Princess Celestia said, and she dealt with the 1,000 Italians or something, but she wanted to, and it's hardly to find my paper, and I haven't found him yet. And so we need to find him and the rest of the others so we can find the elements of harmony and a solution. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves slaves to the lust and into this rest of our question in a huge orgy. I need a glass of water.
And I'm back. Pinkie Pie collapsed onto her chest, panting for breath with her big tongue hanging out. Dash blinked a few times in quick succession before she nodded.
Sorry, people, if you couldn't understand any of that, but that's what they were going for. Right. Right. Okay. We have to save Equestria.
As per usual, she smiled brightly at the guards.
You guys rest here. Yes, mistress, but why?
Galland asked reasonably. Dash licked her lips.
Well, if we fail, I want to know where you are. Meep.
Thatch meeped. Dash gave him a raunchy grin.
And if you try to run, Mistress will find you.
I'm trying to remember. What is that line? Yes, mistress?
Fuck if I know.
Oh, wait! I remember! There's only one person I call mistress.
Who?
The democratically elected leader of Afghanistan, of course.
And with that, you've lost me.
Diamanda Hagen.
Oh! I don't watch her reviews. I know I should, but...
Yes, mistress.
But
anyway, moving right along.
Then the very best of luck, Miss Dash. Mistress Dash.
Galland said quickly. She flapped her wings and hovered over to Pinkie Pie.
Come on, Pinky! Right around, honey!
Pinkie said cheerfully. She resumed skipping as Dash flew after her. The four guards collapsed, all utterly spent.
Ugh, jeez. I thought she was exhausting when we were the dominant ones.
Groaned Zero. I want my mommy. Thatch sobbed.
Hold the line, soldier!
Galland said.
No relationship is entirely peaches and cream. I, for one, am not giving up just because of a few whacks on the rope.
Me neither.
Mustang admitted in a small voice, covering his face with his hooves.
Love is a battlefield. We will not yield!
Is that a reference to Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar?
Maybe.
Kudos. Galland cried.
Words to live by, Captain Malcolm Reynolds.
I think he's gone now.
Zero said.
Yeah, but what a way to go.
Mustang sighed. Meanwhile, in the Alabaster Castle on the big fucking ranch.
The ranch puns are back with a vengeance!
Dun dun dun. Only 5 chapters left of ranch puns. Whatever will we
4 chapters left of ranch puns.
Including the epilogue.
Whatever.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 5. Not
9.
3, sir. 5. Applejack's gallop had slowed to a canter and gradually down as a trot as she navigated the hallways of the palace. She looked around, eyes focused on anything that might be a possible threat.
So,
The package on her back said.
not going to talk, huh?
I'm a little focused at the moment.
Applejack returned flatly. She rubbed her chin and looked between the two hallways.
Well, if you're going to be quiet, can you at least untie me?
Soarin asked plaintively. As much as... Sorry, Littleton.
As much as I enjoy watching your shapely backside, my wings are getting a cramp.
That's exactly for that reason that you all stand on my back.
Applejack declared.
And try to keep your eyes off my backside, if you please.
What was all that talk about Plan B, then?
Soarin asked flatly.
What? You, awake for that?
Applejack gasped as she looked back. Her nose came into contact with his and their eyes locked. Her face, already hot from her estrus, and seemed to glow like the sun in the warmth of his breath. Applejack quickly looked forward again, taking in deep breaths and trying to calm herself. Soarin leaned up and nibbled on her neck. Applejack, apple Soarin for the win, motherfuckers.
Yup.
He said, a grin in his voice. Applejack shuddered and held back a moan.
Also caught parts of you ranting at your brother. Drag me to a priest, huh?
Applejack closed her eyes and took another deep breath. She then rolled her shoulders and tossed Soarin off her back. He landed with a thud and looked up at her in shock.
Well, hey, what's that for?
That's if you're all getting too cozy.
Applejack growled, circling him from a safe distance.
Here I am trying to save a question, and you're here nibbling on me.
Nom, 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 nom.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
Soarin asked dryly. He gestured his wings and his legs, both tied up in rope.
I don't have many other options here.
Good.
Applejack said crossly.
But now I don't trust you. Or myself. So at least one of us should be tied up. Since I didn't get us into this mess, it should be me.
What? You're the one who started this.
Soarin growled. Applejack gasped and spun around.
I did not.
You jumped to the pool. I dove in to rescue you.
I didn't know you were there.
Well, how else would it have looked to anyone else? You just ran in there like you were trying to drown yourself.
Soarin defended.
I was trying to save you.
I didn't need saving, you empty-headed cloud jockey. I was doing just fine. Then you had to sweep in looking for a pie.
Applejack growled.
So? You should be so flattered I flew by. That pie was delicious, and so are you.
Soarin shouted back.
Well, so are you. You don't see me making such a mess of it, though.
Applejack bellowed.
You made the mess. Who's the one connecting the elements of harmony? Huh?
Soarin shouted.
At what? My fault!
Bullshit. Applejack shouted back, getting right in his face. They growled at each other before Applejack closed the distance and kissed him furiously. Soarin responded as best he could, straightening back his bonds, as much force as he could bring to bear. Applejack pulled away, breathing heavily. Soarin looked about the same, the blue Pegasus having a definite stain of red on his cheeks.
Sorry.
Applejack said quickly.
No, I'm sorry.
Soarin said. He sighed.
I guess I kind of got us stuck together.
Well, let's just focus on finishing our mission. Blame and punishment can be sorted out later. But Tish.
Applejack sighed. He looked back at her with a smile.
Still, not bad at all, right?
Not all bad. We got all bad. We got all Equestria going crazy thanks to that. Now it's just plain crazy.
Applejack cried. Soarin looked at the ceiling and coughed.
Well, yeah, a bit.
He shrugged and smiled.
Worst ponies to spend it with.
Oh, come on. You're just saying that.
Applejack insisted.
It's because of the heat. We don't even know each other.
I know you're strong, willed enough to carry me around, bound and helpless, and not take advantage of me.
Soarin said with a little grin.
As much as I wouldn't mind, I find that very attractive. Heat or no heat. You're a mare I'm glad to get to know better.
Apple Soarin for the win! Applejack's cheeks went bright red and she huffed.
Well, let's just keep our minds on the job, alright? As for the future, well, let's just let that take care of itself.
She looked down at him and spat in her hoof. She held it out to him.
Agreed?
Soarin managed to twist his rear hoof enough to spin on it, and he offered it to Applejack. They shook awkwardly.
Agreed. Now, can you untie me, please?
I don't know. I've started to get used to it.
Applejack admitted with a little grin.
Oh, just you wait. When I get out, I'm tying you up.
Applejack allowed herself a smirk.
That's supposed to be a threat?
The blue Pegasus grinned at her.
Nope. A promise.
Whips and chains and kinky leather, Applejack and Soarin are getting laid tonight. Whips and chains and kinky leather. Oh, Applejack, you dirty bitch!
Not quite.
Yeah, she is the sensible one here. Meanwhile,
On another part of the ranch inside the castle, on the ranch, with the focusing on the pony who actually works on the goddamn ranch, we find ourselves here. Big Mac had never been to the palace before. Frankly, he was at a loss as to how to navigate it. Hallways seemed to stretch on forever, and there were numerous intersections, doors, and forks throughout. So, for lack of anything better, he pressed on and trusted his luck that he'd find the way out, doubting Princess Celestia not only felt wrong from the perspective of her being a goddess, but silly. This was her palace after all. She should know it inside out, as he knew every corner and nail in the Apple farmhouse.
I wonder who designed the palace.
No idea.
And
Someone with taste. Frankly, the day he'd been having, he needed a little faith.
Big Mac.
Fluttershy's voice was even quieter than usual.
Yup.
He asked, glancing over his shoulder at the bound Pegasus on his back.
Oh dear. I hate to ask you this.
She was squirming a little now, her wings brushing against him as she tugged at the ropes. Big Mac focused intently on anything but that sensation.
I mean, you've been so very, very nice to me today, in spite of everything that's happened, and I really appreciate it, and I hate to ask for anything else. But,
Nope.
Big Mac said automatically, firmly getting his thoughts on the mission and off tugging at his heartstrings, and off the tugging at his heartstrings that her voice was doing. Twang,
Twang.
twang.
oh dear. Alright, I'm sorry I asked.
Fluttershy heaved a tiny sigh and allowed herself to drape limply over the big pony's back.
Of course, you wouldn't want to take a break. These ropes are starting to chafe a little, but it's not too bad. I'm sure I'll be fine until we find the elements.
Oh,
This big stallion said. He shook his head.
a break. Sounds fun to me.
Admiral Akbar, what do you think?
It's a trap! Actually, I've read this. It's... Well, I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
Uh-huh.
Big Macintosh looked around, weighing his options. A fountain in the shape of a pair of alicorns dancing together held the promise of cool, refreshing water. With a nod, he trotted over and turned his head around. Carefully, he took her bound limbs between his teeth, pulled her off. He swung her a bit, and with the help of his big muscles and in his neck, he set her down gently on the floor. A tug on the knot with his teeth, and the ropes came loose. Fluttershy sighed in relief, the sound pitched just low enough to be interesting. She stretched all 6 of her limbs as far as she could go before rolling back onto her hooves and rolling her spine in a series of crackling noises.
I can't crack my knuckles right now. I usually can. Sorry. That'll do.
There you go. She entered the movement with her head low and to the ground and her back curved upwards and thrusting her haunches high into the air.
Thank you so much.
She said brightly before bending to take a drink from the fountain. Big Mac nodded and waited for her to be done, keeping his eyes firmly on the water, He tried to focus on his thirst, and not on the mare slurping the water delicately.
Nope, nope, nope.
He closed his eyes and said, tried humming a song that came to his mind to keep his attention away from Fluttershy, or anything remotely to do with Fluttershy.
She is a goddamn succubus!
Succubus trying to take my baby!
Yeah.
Fluttershy sighed again, deep and husky.
Husky.
She raised her head, licking excess water from her lips. She turned to Big Mac, and her eyelids slowly drifted to half-mast as she watched him slake his own thirst.
And thank you for carrying me away back there.
She said, voice soft as her feathers.
I was so scared that all those stallions were going to catch me. All those lusty, maddened stallions. Those big, red...
Her eyes jerked all the way open as she realized what she was saying. With a small cry, Fluttershy immediately turned around and plunged her head into the water with a wet smack.
Ow!
Head, table. Head, table.
Well, that's one way to deal with your lust insanity.
Big Macintosh released the breath he was holding in and watched her head underwater. After a minute, he became concerned and pulled her out.
Miss Fluttershy?
He rumbled.
I'm okay.
Fluttershy sputtered, shaking water out of her face and pulling a sodden mass of her mane out of her eyes. The moment she did, her gaze connected once again with Max, and a furious blush rose immediately on her cheeks. She quickly brought her hooves up to hide her face, trembling.
No, I'm not. I'm a bad pony.
She's a goddamn succubus!
Succubus tried to take my baby!
What? No. No, you're not.
Big Macintosh insisted. He rested his big hoof on her shoulder, unable to help the compulsion to comfort her in some way.
Yes, I am.
She whimpered.
I'm a bad pony. A bad pony.
That mental image is not leaving your head anytime soon. Goddamn succubus!
Succubus trying to take my baby! Flinching away from his touch.
I can't stop it. If I was stronger like Twilight or Applejack, I could stop it. But I can't. I'm a naughty pony. And it's all my fault.
You can fuck men into death! Or actually, to be more appropriate, fuck them into immortality. If you get the reference, yeah, you. You are strong, just not in any of the right ways.
Or, the third time we've used this joke in a two-sentence paragraph, she's a goddamn succubus!
Succubus trying to take my baby!
Right?
Moving right along,
No, not.
Big Macintosh said. He rested his hoof on her shoulders and held her in place to keep her from moving again.
That's the elements. No opponent knew that calls this. No opponent could.
I call bullshit.
Well, at least Celestia would, and obviously she wouldn't tell the others. And I'm done with that. To that, I take a drink. Of water this time.
Yes, water. Good old H2 non-alcoholic O.
Oh, and people, if you're wondering if we might do more drunk readings in the future, the answer is a very definite yes.
Fluttershy looked up from her hooves with the most miserable look Big Macintosh had ever seen on a pony's face. Even more miserable than Apple Bloom had that time Rainbow Dash told her that Heartswarming Eve had been cancelled. Bitch. The yellow Pegasus whimpered and half-heartedly tried to wipe the water away from her face.
It wasn't the elements last year.
She said, almost too quietly for him to hear.
No, it wasn't.
Big Macintosh admitted.
That don't mean you're a bad pony. You're just a bit
Excessive. He felt silent, thinking.
repressed.
Again, I call bullshit.
I'm going around and I'm
Fluttershy cast about for the word.
running anything I can find with 4 legs.
Trying to remember, what fictional character was it that also did that?
Aphrodite?
No shit, Stan. Ah, that's right, Zeus! Zeus would fuck anything with legs. And breathing?
Aphrodite was the goddess of sex.
Yes, but Zeus was the one that turned into a bull to have sex with the queen of Minos to create the Minotaur.
So let's just compromise here and say they both fucked anything with legs.
Yes, but Zeus resulted in more children.
Yeah.
Consult the actual myth of Heracles. Heracles! For more accurate depiction. Anyway,
Where were we?
she made a frustrated squeaking noise and smacked her hoof down on the carpet with a quiet thud.
I think maybe I could repress it a little more.
Well, if they have the Ludovico technique in Equestria.
Yeah, possibly.
Anyway,
Nope. And now we get the more morally correct and logical solution from our resident pony philosopher.
Big Macintosh said succinctly. He pointed his hoof to the fountain. He pressed it over the mouth of the fountain and held it there. He looked at her. Fluttershy blinked at him.
This is yo.
This is your brain on drugs. He waited until he was sure the pressure had built up enough, then released it. The water burst out in a spray, getting on them both.
This is yo and hey.
He said.
You mean I get wet?
Moving on.
She asked very carefully. Big Macintosh nodded.
Soaked.
He pointed at the fountain again, now flowing normally.
It's like, you're either off or on. Okay, enough clapping. We got a story to read.
I'd rather be off all the time.
Said Fluttershy with a sigh.
I'm so scared sometimes. It's like my body won't even listen to me. I don't even want to talk to most stallions. But it's like there's a voice in the back of my head screaming.
Wait, I got a reference. My mind is telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. She paused and raised her hooves like a movie monster and spoke with a screeching sound, but still very quiet. Tone of voice.
Okay, I'm gonna try my best to do this. Tell me if I'm doing it wrong.
Get that stallion! Rat him! Rat him until neither of you can see straight! Make pony babies!
Wow, we are really filling up the reference barrel with this chapter, aren't we?
Yeah, unfortunately.
We've used goddamn succubus 3 times in one paragraph. He came up with any references for Rainbow Dash and her 4 guards. Yeah, a lot of references.
Yep, sorry.
Alright,
MST3K.
that's what we do.
Big Mac suppressed a laugh and shook his head.
That's just a problem, though.
He said gently.
You can't just turn it off, so we gotta let it out.
He gestured back to the water gently trickling out of the fountain.
Let it flow.
The spice must flow! Or in this case, the sex must flow! He said.
Little at a time. Slow. Steady.
He gave her a small knowing smile.
It's how I deal with things.
Jesus Christ.
You?
Fluttershy blinked.
But you don't have to worry about this sort of thing, do you? I mean, you've always been so...
She started to smile a little bit and quickly shook her head, pulling her gaze away from the stallion's body.
You're so reserved.
She finished lamely. Big Macintosh sighed. He reached up to one of the metal lamps that graced the walls, yanked it off, set it on the floor, and crushed it with minimal effort.
Because I'm Big Macintosh. Anyway, back to what he really said. Growing up, I was strong. Very strong. Scary strong. And angry.
So he Shizuo. Nice. He said. He looked up at her with a little difficulty. More than he'd shown by smashing the lamp flat.
Well, you might say. Hurt a few folks when I lost control.
His eyes went to the side like hers did when she was uncomfortable. Fluttershy slowly reached out and touched the hoof he used to crush the lamp. Her face was full of sympathy.
I'm sure you didn't mean to.
She whispered.
Nope. Hurt all the same.
Big Macintosh said quietly. It was clear he wasn't talking about the physical ailments. He sighed.
Only way to deal with it was to learn how to be like that.
He pointed at the water and trickled as it trickled happily into the pool below the two sisters.
Flow. Give. Relax.
I'm not very good at relaxing.
Sighed Fluttershy.
Other ponies always seem so calm, but I always feel kind of wound up.
That just means you gotta learn how.
Said Big Macintosh gently. He reached out to slip a hoof under Fluttershy's chin and tilted her face up until he was looking at her.
All it takes is practice.
He said.
I reckon I can help you with that.
Fluttershy's eyes widened.
You mean it? You do that for me?
He smiled.
Yup.
Oh, Big Mac! That's so sweet of you!
Fluttershy's pupils dilated and she jumped up to give the stallion a big hug. Big and warm. She sighed and snuggled against his coat, nuzzling his neck. Slowly her hooves began trailing down his powerful chest too.
Fluttershy. Fluttershy.
Her eyes snapped open and then she slowly scooted away from Big Macintosh and laid down very carefully on her back. Fluttershy held out all her hooves and turned to look carefully away.
Maybe you'd better tie me back up.
She said, blushing intensely. Big Macintosh expertly lassoed the Pegasus and bound her legs together very carefully before depositing her once again on his back. Taking a moment to regain his bearings, he turned and continued down the hallway.
Big Mac,
Yup.
when you said practice, you meant sex, right?
Yup.
Yay!
Bow chicka wow wow.
And I have to work in this reference one more time. She's a goddamn succubus!
Succubus trying to take my baby!
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, in the middle of the many hallways of the big alabaster gilded towered castle on the motherfucking ranch! We found ourselves here. Many of the hallways of Candlelock Castle were filled with noises, many of them very sexy noises. Others, not so much. This particular hall was dead silent, like the hills. A light breeze fluttered through one of the open windows, flapping the curtain gently. Somewhere in the distance, one could faintly detect the echo of some pony screaming in melodramatic horror. It was so quiet that if one strained their ears hard enough, they might have heard the bead of sweat as it slowly rolled down the side of Braeburn's face, and, after clinging to his chin for a split second, falling to its death on the slightly musty carpet below.
well, that's sort of a grim depiction of a bead of sweat.
Braeburn's left ear flicked back and forth irritably. He raised one forehoof to carefully wipe away the rest of the perspiration from his face. His eyes narrowed as he continued to strain his senses to their limits.
There!
Just on the edges of his hearing, the Earth Pony detected the telltale warmth of Pegasus' wings in flight. Darn it all. He was sure he'd lost them as he rappelled down the outside of the tower. Princess Luna's minions had to be the most relentless pursuers he had ever tried to escape.
More like the second most relentless.
Even Buffalo would have tired by now, but these fillies just kept coming.
I still say second.
Still, he wasn't licked yet. Braeburn pushed his hat back on his head, looked around. He could hear hooves as well, trotting softly on the hallway carpet. They were getting closer, the wings and the hooves. Why would they be on that floor? Why were they trying to fake him out?
No, you...
Where were they trying to fake him out? An idea struck the cowboy. And after casting about for anything that could be used as rope, he resorted to tearing down one of the gaudy tapestries hanging from the walls and quickly shredded into strips. It was but the work of a moment to twist the pieces around in a sizable length of stout rope.
Didn't look good anyway.
He muttered to himself.
Oh, then burn his upside down.
Hoof and wing beats were getting closer now. He thought he could gauge which direction they were coming from. It was a tall hallway, but a narrow one. Chuckling softly, Braeburn tied a loop in the one end of his makeshift rope, tossed it over a relatively fortunate light fixture. Flattened against the wall, he could hold the rope out of sight while the loop lay on the floor at the end of the hall.
Sure, you girls a thing or two.
He said as he gingerly placed his hat over the loop.
You clever bastard. This sure as shooting ain't Braeburn's first rodeo.
Clever girl. He repressed the urge to add a whoop at the end of his statement, grabbed the other end of the rope with his teeth, and waited.
Closer. Closer. Ooh! Ha!
Cried a cheerful female voice. He felt his rope being tugged, and he yanked as hard as he could.
Wah! Hey! Who's there?
Shouted a familiar female voice.
What the hey?
Asked Braeburn, of no penny in particular.
Is that... Rainbow Dash!
Squealed the first voice.
I found him! I found my Soarin!
Peekaboo!
Exclaimed Braeburn, looking around frantically.
Where are you? Tain't safe here. I got a peck of Picasso in my tail.
I'm up here!
Sang Pinky, giggling.
Wait. If she's saying that, I have to do the correctly. I'm up here!
Braeburn slowly looked upwards. Pinkie Pie, slowly turning in a circle as he hung suspended from the light fixture, waved at him frantically, an enormous smile on her face.
But I be a snake's uncle,
Said Braeburn in wonder.
Having a question, you get up there, sugar pie. You're the one holding the rope.
Said Rainbow Dash, who was now wearing Braeburn's hat.
Give him back his hat.
Hat, hand now, please.
Alright.
If you wanted to trap me, I could have prepared better.
Pinkie Pie chirped.
I mean like some dialogue.
She held her hooves together, pleading.
Please, Frontier's pony, don't ravish me as your rightful prize, and especially don't make me lick the...
I'm sorry, but that's just so goddamn... Okay. Let me get a moment.
Steel yourself!
And especially don't make me lick sugar off of your...
Rainbow Dash pulled the Stetson down around her ear so she couldn't have to hear the rest of that sentence. Braeburn turned as red as, well, an apple, and frantically waved for Pinky to stop.
I don't think this is an entirely appropriate moment for talking about licking things.
Lollipop. He babbled.
Yeah, we really don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Said Dash, lifting her hat off her ears.
Pinky told me the elements of harmony are going to...
She frowned.
What did you say again? Drive all our equestria into eternal orgy of ultimate... It lead... And... Okay, sorry, I read that wrong. Drive all of equestria into it. An eternal orgy and ultimately to a complete and total destruction of our civilization as lusty mares tear on society to shake their their unending lusts?
Rainbow Dash scowled.
That's not what you said. I was paraphrasing.
Hold on. She insisted.
Besides, that's what will happen. I mean, imagine if both princesses were in heat. At the same time!
Actually, no. Actually, you know what? That still does apply.
All the time!
Braeburn's eyes widened in horror. In his mind, the castle fell away to unveil an endless wasteland piled knee-high with stallion bones. An endless carpet of bones as far as the horizon, like an endless sea of white, and there in the distance, mounted on a great heap of the bones, were two wild-eyed mares turning their horrible lusty gazes down upon him as their mouths split into perverted leers. Look, sister, hissed the sticky phantom that had once been Celestia. We've missed one. Mine! Screamed Luna, who had never learned to share. She leapt down from atop her bones directly towards Braeburn, opened his mouth to unleash a soundless cry of absolute terror. He also let go of the rope. Pinkie Pie cried as she fell onto the floor.
Oof! Pinkie, you alright?
Asked Dash, a bit concerned. The pink pony waved of her foreleg.
I'm okay. I landed on my head.
She looked up at Braeburn and then adopted a wince.
I mean, ooh, ow, the pain. My only hope is some tender, loving care.
Ouch, wow, wow.
Sorry, Sugar Pie, but we ain't got time for this.
Braeburn said grimly.
Ain't nobody got time for that. We gotta save the world. For those of you who actually get that reference, yeah, you.
Moving right along.
Yeah!
Rainbow Dash said with a grin.
Not even a quickie?
Pinkie Pie pouted.
Pinkie, as much as I'd love to ravish Braeburn too, we don't have the time.
Said Rainbow Dash as she headed down the hallway.
Come on! But you just said we didn't have time!
Wailed Pinkie. Rainbow Dash paused and turned to stare at the pink pony in confusion.
We don't. But then you told me to. Let's just go.
Said Braeburn.
And we can take care of anything else you feel is might want after we've averted the world-ending orgy.
Woo!
They set up on the hall, Braeburn eyed Rainbow Dash, and tried to decide if it would be worth to try and get his hat back.
Just ask for it.
Yes.
Like, crazy lust or not, Rainbow Dash will probably still give it back.
So, Braeburn,
Said Pinkie as she bounced along.
why were you trying to catch me with a crudely constructed rope snare?
Braeburn's eyes widened an instant. Later, 3 all too familiar female voices filled the hall.
There he is! I found him! Get him!
For Nikki! Horse apples!
Moaned Braeburn.
Run, girls! Yeah!
Once again, big thanks to the Order of Friendly Uncle for his massive assistance with this chapter. Stay tuned for the next.
Well, that was chapter 11.
Finally one that doesn't run over an hour.
Oh, come on. They haven't been that bad. Anyway,
Orgle, florgle, florgle.
I actually like the philosophical musings of Big Mac. You should write a book. What?
Oh. It's the same thing they said in Bleach.
I
Turn
know!
the faucet off!
I know!
It's contrived. Granted, I've heard it before, many times. But, really?
You can't deny that what he said made sense.
It made sense, but in the most backhanded, off-kilter way. Philosophy is meant to be provoking. And provoking, not... Never mind.
Yeah, we can go into this another time. But anyway, that was chapter 11. We hope you all enjoyed it. And stay tuned for the next chapter.
Yes, stay tuned for more Beating the Heat.
Next time on Beating the Heat.
Fornications of massive proportions.
Or will they? Will they save the world from a world-ending orgy?
Will the orgy actually ensue?
How can an orgy actually be world-ending? If everybody's fucking, that would logically mean that they're all making babies.
I'm not going to reference what I want to reference, but I'm not.
What,
Anyway, will they succeed? Will they fail? And what about Mary Lou?
Who gives a fuck about Mary Lou?
It's a reference to Cheech and Chong.
I know! That's why I said that!
Never mind. Good night, Mental Gen. See you later.
Good night.